the country's livestock are grown in the backyards rather than produced in commercial quantities in large-scale farms or business ventures. Now, as of January this year, the country had a total cattle population of about 2.6 million heads. And this figure has been growing by a mere 0.29% from the last count. It also had a carabao supply of 3.3 million heads, which declined by 0.56% compared to the last count. The country's goat population rose to 4.2 million heads, exhibiting an average growth rate of almost 3% annually. Now, for poultry, the country had around 159 million chicken, indicating a growth rate of almost 3% annually, while its duck population of 10.6 million heads is about 1% higher than the last count. Now, talking of the recovery rate from the slaughter of these animals, however, could not be presented here because current standards do not consider the halal requirement. Current meat recovery rates would likely be higher than the halal requirement given the exclusion of other animal parts such as the internal organs, including the blood of these animals. And our current inventory for livestock and poultry, however, remains inadequate to fully meet domestic demand, since over the period 2006 to 2008, we have actually imported some of these animals. Cattle imports reached almost 18,000 heads in 2007, although there are no records on the importation of carabao that have been recorded. And the country imported cara beef over the same period. The country did not import goats over the same period. Now, for poultry, the country imported around 44,000 in 2008, so we're still importing chicken. Chicken imports have been growing by an average of 14% every year, while no duck imports were recorded during this period. Now, in terms of live weight, the country's chicken population totaled 1,281 metric tons in 2008, while cattle production followed with 239 metric tons. Carabao production reached 140 metric tons, while goat production reached 78 metric tons. And duck production brought up the number with 39 metric tons. Now, an analysis of the geographic distribution of the potential demand for halal food. And this is represented by the Muslim Filipino population, which we said earlier has been placed between 5 to 6 million versus the supply data of raw materials. Our analysis would reveal that the extent of supply gaps in the domestic market. Majority of Muslim Filipinos reside in the southern portion of the Philippines or in Mindanao Island. And from these slides, including the succeeding ones, we'd like to show you that Luzon and Visayas are better positioned to respond to halal food industry requirements in terms of raw materials because of the higher production levels recorded for these sources of food in Luzon and Visayas. And when we speak of breaking into the global halal market, this would be the areas that would have the potential supply. Now, a caveat we'd like to show you is that everything boils down, however, to the halal certification process. While the volume may be there, now, if these raw materials are not certified halal, then this could not be considered at all in the halal food industry. Now, going into the livestock inventory by island group, among the country's major island groups, Luzon had the largest carabao and cattle population. Visayas, however, had the most number of goats, with a population roughly 4 times larger than that of Luzon and that of Mindanao. And the same analysis may be done with the rest of the raw materials for the food items presented here. Luzon lorded it over Visayas and Mindanao on poultry production. Luzon's chicken population of 88 million heads was more than 2 times Mindanao's production levels and almost 3 times the Visayan production. In that population, this follows the same proportion of chicken population as compared to those of Mindanao and Visayas. So it's still Luzon with the bulk, producing the bulk of this raw material. Now on cereal, this would be our staples, no? Rice and corn. The rice production of the Philippines rose from 13.5 million metric tons in 2003 to about 16.8 million metric tons in 2008. This would indicate an average annual increase of 4.5%. Now these figures are expected to change considering the recent destruction of large tracts of productive areas in Luzon, owing to several typhoons that visited the country, particularly the Luzon Island in the recent weeks. Now, on our corn production, the country recorded an increase from 4.6 million metric tons in 2003 to almost 7 million metric tons in 2008. This indicates an average annual growth rate of about 8.5%. Now, corn, as we all know, is used as feeds for livestock and poultry. Now, for rice production, Luzon had a greater volume, and this was greater than the combined production of Visayas and Mindanao in 2008, relying heavily on the production of Central Luzon. Mindanao, however, led in the corn production at 3.7 million metric tons. Luzon followed with 2.6 million metric tons, while Visayas, which is a traditionally corn-eating population, was last with 622,000 metric tons. And this is because of the limited area planted with this crop. Now for rice stocks, as of October 1st this year, the country's rice inventory was estimated at 2.485 million metric tons. It surpassed the September 2009 level by 7.02% and was 14.6% higher than the last year's record. But please take note that the Philippines is a net importer of rice. Okay? And also, as of October 1st this year, the total corn stock amounted to 392.1 thousand metric